Okay, so I was scrolling TikTok and decided to open up Discord, and I'm there. I see a video on Goku versus the fairy tale verse. So I click on the video and decide to watch it. And in the video, the dude blatantly downplayed fairy tale to large margins and took the specific arguments he's arguing against out of contextualization. Now, I agree on the fact that Goku beats fairy tale, yes, but his arguments are full of strawmans and fallacies in general. So I'm going to be debunking his arguments against fairy tale.
A transcendental magic world, but we do not know if this statement means it transcends space and time or not. Without proper context, we cannot call it 5D or outerversal.
We don't just use this scan and state that it's fifth dimensional. That's in straw man of the actual argumentations made. The actual argument is that it contains more magic power than Earthland and Noblesse, which both of those structures are infinite in size and is in parallel world to each other. And parallel world could mean two things. One, two worlds side by one another, as since parallel means two things side by side from one another. And two things that are existing in a similar way, like in parallel universe. We know it can't be one since there's dimensional borders separating the worlds from each other, so they just exist in a similar way to each other. This would also mean they have their own space and time via them being dimensionally separated, which would entail spatially disconnection from one another, and time flows on a different axis there, as shown when looking from both worlds. Elantir is described as in parallel world to Noblesse, but it's in a way they exist similar to Noblesse, and Elantir are described as having more magic than Noblesse and Earthland. Earthland is described as having infinite magic, meaning that Elantir would have a higher infinity than Earthland or Noblesse. And since we know that they both have their own space and time, it would be higher dimensional than Earthland, this making it 5D, or could argue 6D via qualitative timeline superiority.
And in this verse, a transdimensional power also appears, which again, people argue is 5D, but they ignore the fact that it was called an alternate dimension and a different dimension. This is just like how every time extra dimension does not mean transcendence. It could simply be a different universe or an extra universe. So yes, the same logic applies here, too.
Okay, what does this debunk? Different and alternate dimensional would just mean it's not the same dimensionally. And transdimensional means to exist across or move between multiple dimensions, which could go beyond normal dimensions that is perceived. So you're kind of just making it better.
And using this scan, people also say that fairy tale verse is high hyperversal because it has infinite dimensions, but they ignore the fact that the word array was used, which represents linear data, not any type of transcendence. So fairy tale fans must prove that it was infinite spatial and temporal. Transcendence.
Linear has two different meanings. One, arranged in or extending along a straight or nearly straight line. And the second definition is to where progressing from one stage to another in a singular series of steps. The dimensions that he's in reference to is stated to have different coordinate axes of each world. We also know that an array of dimensions is shown to have an extra layer of coordinates axis, which would be fitting to what was argued prior. This would be more evident as they're also described as different dimensional worlds, which means each would be dimensionally separated. And in this case is also described as having their own coordinate axis, and there's an infinite array of these dimensional worlds, thus making it high hyperversal.
Then fairy tale fans call star memory outerversal because dreams become reality there. So that place is non-physical. And non-physical things are outerversal. First of all, being non-physical does not automatically make you outerversal. If we start proving outerversal with this logic, then every fictional character with non-physical interaction would become outerversal. Second, how does making dreams real prove it is non-physical? Most logically, what is happening is that dreams are shown physically there. So yes, this is not outerversal or higher dimensional at all.
Nobody argues for star memory like this. B, this is in blatant straw man of the actual argument, as what's actually argued is that since dreams become reality, therein dreams portray abstract concepts, it's outerversal not because it's non-physical.
And bro, I really laughed when someone literally called a place where time stopped outerversal. My brother, time stopped there. It did not stop existing. Use some mind before scaling. Well, then there are some mental and platonic things, which again are not outerversal, because they are subjective, not objective. And fairy tale wanks also bring platonic concepts.
This is not what the argument states, and I don't have time explaining it, so I'm gonna just place it on the screen for y'all to see. Nobody argues for platonic concepts in fairy tale. Quite literally no one.
Now look at this scan. This realm is filled with nothingness. So if movement happened here without any hacks, then it would be outerversal, just like I explained in the World of Void case. But now look at the reality of why this realm was called nothingness. It was referring to immortality. The same thing happened in Featherine's cosmology too. Read the scan, and you will debunk it yourself.
Yeah, no, what's the scan is in reference to is Mardgeir stating that conceptual life and death is the only things that could kill an immortal, like Zaref. Not that it was immortal itself, even if it was in reference to being immortal. There's nothing proving that it can not be both, nor have you given a reason for why it can't be both. I don't know how you lack this much reading comprehension.
Well, many people also argue outerversal for this verse using this scan. But you can see that an outerversal realm transcends the concept of time. But here, what is happening is that the concept of time is being repaired.
The SBT is described as in concept where the nothing could exist in, which is including the concepts of space and time. It's also described as in rift between space and time. Rifts in fairy tale are stated to be somewhere where no space and time exists. I'm not going to go too deep into the scaling chain, so Emma, just leave these here.
So from all of this, the mid-ball scaling I get for fairy tale is multiversal plus, and this verse has nothing higher dimensional. So here, not even immeasurable speed is possible, let alone irrelevant. Now as for Goku.
All in all, if you want to debate on fairy tale scaling, my Discord is on the screen, and Ani-Multiverse.